Hello, everyone. Welcome to Art Salon. I'm Ellie Shore, and I've been running Art Salon since 2012. Every first Tuesday night of the month from October to May. So this is the last one of the season. And it's my pleasure to introduce tonight Isabel Gouveia, who is a printmaker, photographer, painter, drawer, sculptor, in many different ways, using many different materials, talking about environmentalism and landscape and the decay, what she calls the entropy of our environment. But she does it through many different medium, and I think it's going to be fascinating to listen to her. Isabel was born in Brazil and got her bachelor's degree in industrial design in São Paulo, and worked there for many years. She'll be telling you about that. And then came to the United States in the early 2000s and got her master's in fine arts degree at FAU, and has been working and showing ever since. She was an artist in residence here at the Armory Arts Center in 2015 to 2016. And Isabel has remained here as an instructor ever since. She lives in Lake Worth, and she shows her work throughout South Florida and also in some other states, and recently in Portugal, and has won prizes in a number of places, Best in Show and other awards. She's had a residency here and also a residency at the Virginia Center for the Arts the following year. And she is a winner of the South Florida Cultural Consortium, which is about the highest honor that you can get down here. That was in 2015 to 16, I think. 2016 to 17. So here is Isabel Gouveia to tell you about her life and her work.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Jerry, and everybody for coming. I'm delighted to do this. I'm going to talk about how my art came to what I do today. I'll start from the beginning. When I was living in Brazil, I started showing there a few places, and then I moved to the United States. I want to take part of this globalization thing. I was working at a federal bank. I left the security, all the benefit to come here. So this is the landscape from Brazil that inspired many things in my work. I was born in Minas Gerais, here in this tip, and then I moved to Goiás, and then finally went to São Paulo, like you see here. This is called the Cerrado, is the Brazilian savannas. Is a kind of vegetation, a lot of seeds, pods, you can see hard leaves, and you see the mountains. And also, what I enjoyed so much was one day I was in my cousin farm, and I saw the termites moths, and was kind of a névoa, I don't know, in English was kind of fuzzy, and you see just the mounts and this whiteness right in the morning. And I was so inspired by it. I moved to São Paulo in my 20s, and I did my industrial designer there. I started working in a federal bank. I had a secure job, but because I could not work as an industrial designer, I was already working in a bank, and I have family. I could not drive to go to look for a job. I would not get enough paid for survive. And then I became an artist. What I thought was I could not be. I should make money with what I do. I started doing paintings and printmaking. This relates to the savannas, the seeds, my abstraction about those that I did in 2000. And then I was a printmaker, and as I have been always interested in color, I was printing 2 colors. This series, they have 9 plates, and even though I didn't know, and I didn't acknowledge I was work with chance, because I made those plates, everyone different, and I was putting them together to make a composition, only two at a time. So they will change, interchanging between them, and give me a lot of prints, different prints. They are aquatints, intaglio, and the other one is also aquatint, and also two colors. This was the prints I was doing in Brazil. This series here, I didn't show there. I just finished and I moved here. It's still in a box, kind of. I show a few of them. Then, over there, I started already paint about this hills, this termite mounts. And when I came here, I was not able to go to printmaking, so I started painting, and I started looking at the mounts again, but now more abstract and simplified. And I was also looking for this color here, this color that you almost don't see, that I call, it's almost an aura, but the third color in between the transitions of the painting. I have a series of them. As I like color in printmaking, I find out that Edvard Munch, he jigsaw the plates to assemble color together at the same plate. So I thought, wow, how can he put color in without messing around, no? And then I learned that he jigsawed the figures and then assembled them together after he colored. So I start doing things like this. He was also using the grain of the wood to apply. And this is one, looks like mimicking the paintings. And these are the different ones. I always like also Japanese landscapes, no, very minimal, very simple. Then at the Armor, I came to the Armor in 2006. I was taking class here, and the position got available. Marcia Crystal was teaching here. And she said to me, I said, oh, Marcia, we don't have a teacher anymore. She said, you can do it, baby. Why don't you teach it? I would like to have a moment for her recent pass. She was the one who encouraged me to do, even though with my broken English, to teach printmaking at the Armory. So this print, I got some copper. They are rain gutters, so they were all messed up. But even in Brazil, when I was gonna buy copper, I would buy the most beat up ones, the scratch ones, because I don't want a pristine one. It's funny, I didn't know why, but that was my feeling. And those were scraps that I cut them, and I have all leftovers. Those leftovers, I start doing almost the same thing I was doing with the woods. But now I think better. I was using what I love, which is intaglio. This is a piece of cardboard, but they are loose plates. They are not a set plate. So it's very hard to make edition. They are unique plates. This is one of my intaglio. When I start cutting the copper and build the composition. Here, I was interested in this negative space. Think about a house, how you have a room and things around it. And later on, I did more. I used the paper on, I don't want just to delimitate the work. No, I want to explore, to leave the paper. Not just this set, this space set. Then I start painting. When I start painting, I was thinking about Brazil. I used to travel for my vacation and see a lot of crops. And the crops has monocultures. And you see all this vast way with one color, with this feeling. I love Saint-Exupéry, and when he talks about the wheat fields, no, but it's not why I did this. I was thinking about monoculture and also use the space, the negative space, to think about composition. Those paintings, I made many of them, and then I'll put together, side by side, built-in compositions, like this one here. So this series is called Insularities. I enjoy very much what I do, anyway. This is the following. In 2010, I made this series. I was going to college in 2011. And before I went to a class in New York with Blaine St. Croix, was a summer class, was my first class as a graduate student, even though I didn't start, because I would start in the fall. So people would say, oh, you are finished? And I said, no, I didn't start yet. And I brought those with me, was the last work I did as instructor at the Armory. I could use the machine, and I did this series of compositions. I think about architecture. I thought about houses or buildings that will not be built. But today, I think they have kind of feeling, this thing round and strange. 2 of those prints was selected for IPCNUI in New York. And for me, it's a very prestigious place, so it was an honor to have 2 of my pieces there. And before I went to school, I started drawing. Those are I think they have the same feeling of my work at all. But those drawings are made with pieces of anything, any kind of pencil or even metal I use. And you can say it has some collages, and are those oniric places, this imaginary place that you don't know if there is, but it's in a desert or I don't know. This is a picture of the first installation. When in 2000, when I went to school, I have an assignment to make a diorama. But I could not make the diorama. I did the artwork for my diorama. I want to make a gallery. And this was, let me see. Those little things are my artworks for the gallery. But I never built the gallery. It wasn't a project. And I installed everything in the wall. I was supposed to photograph them and paint. And then I start photographing them. And seeing the lights, seeing the transparency of the plastic and how it glows or it changes, the shapes becomes very abstract. I fell in love with it. And this became what I do in some ways till today. So the side is the diorama. Actually, the installation is still, but there is already a picture from my diorama. And I start seeing the lights coming through, build those colors. And then one day I was photographing and I got this picture from my diorama. Whoa. This picture was the point that I said, I want to do more of it. It's overexposed, so it creates all those elements and everything I like, no? And it was called as a mistake because a photographer could never leave all that white. Yeah, so I was, oh, this is not photography. I thought, well, that's my photography. And then I have this one. I tried to paint those things, but we're so boring. I could not make what I was getting in photography. I was supposed to paint. And it would take so long, and I'm not very tied to high definition painting, whatever. And I continue. This is all from my diorama. And the diorama was, I was using these pieces of garbage, recycle, plastic. When I came to the United States, I came here with no English, and I was a housekeeper till 2012. And the garbage quality here is so high that I could not ignore it. I could not say, oh my gosh, if I could bring this home, it would serve so many people, so many things. And that was bothering me, you know? So that's why I started paying attention to those things. And when I finished my school, I want to pursue industrial design with emballage. Emballage is designed for containers, and I could not because I was working in a bank and I have to go to opposite side of São Paulo to get this class at night. So I continue. And now I'm working with emballage. Anyway, it's funny to realize those things, no? This is my version. I was reading Plato, and this was my cave. Yes. You don't want to go outside to learn what's there. Because I didn't have the right setting of lights in the studio, I was put it in front of a window in the morning and on the evening, in the late evening. So that's why I got the lights, and that's why I got this overexposure, lights coming through against the subject. This is my thoughts about archaeology. I thought, oh, this plastic archaeology. And I made this series of pictures. We curate a show at Palm Beach, the Cultural Council. We are students. We did a curate, and actually, yes. But we also include ourselves in a show. And those were the pictures I show there. This is another one. And those are I think it's my first public installation. It was at Outside the Box first. I did those 3 pieces, the core samples. I made this piece with plastic showing, but mimicking the core sample of the earth. Like I make a hole and I pull everything up. On the top was real grass. And I put light inside so you could see all those, let's say, contaminations and the plastic lights coming through. The other one talks about the water, and on the bottom was a little bit dirty, so I was talking about pollution. And this one was supposed to glow, but it didn't work, but was all with this black tar things that I collect. Was talking about the spill. Another view of them. They were tall, like. And then in my attempt to use garbage again in my work, I started doing those sculptures. When I made them, my intention was to use them together with painting, but it didn't work. But I made a series of them, and I called them bichos, creatures, which is Lygia Clark Bishop. She has this metal thing that has joints and it curves and built themselves in different ways. Those ones also I can hang in a wall or put in the table, and they change the shape, like the shape of garbage. I use rivets, and most of it, and cut out those things was so difficult to cut because you are not supposed to use those machines, they are dangerous. And Nicole invited us to participate at something out of nothing, and I showed them. So it was the first time I showed them outside school. And this, when I started working with digital medium, I was told, well, you have to do something else than photography. and I start manipulate my printer because I want to use paper that already have marks or have been damaged or that would not be perfect. But I was not supposed to touch the prints outside. Then I start using, learning about my printer, change the settings, and I got those pictures. They are, as I heard, well, they are not enough. So then I continue. This project was to compare files. I want to decompose the environment. I want to decompose the picture as a metaphor, as the decomposition of the environment. And when I designed this project, I was going to compare files of JPEGs with TIFF, because JPEGs always lose data when you manipulate it. So you are manipulating the environment, we are losing data, we are losing the natural features. And TIFF stays, the compression is very, very much less, but then it was not enough for me. I started doing just my printer. And those are the decomposition for me when those things happen in a picture. Those pictures I took in a park in Brazil. I was waiting for a sibling, and I took the pictures and I use it here. I recycle, I keep using them. This was the most successful one that I put together and was shown at FAU. For me, this is the most interesting thing here happens. Also here. At the same period, I have to make a search about land art, and I came across Robert Smithson, and he was very concerned about entropy. Entropy is the second law of thermodynamics that say every transformation inside a closed system, everything will keep there. The heat generated will not go anywhere. It's going to keep inside it. And that's what makes our environment very critical condition today, no? After that, my studio practices changed because now I learn what I'm about. Think about landscape, monoculture, this industrialization of food, all the minimal also, it relates to entropy because entropy has many factors, many effects, and this is encompassing what we live today. One of my pictures. Constant Evolution is 39 feet long work that still remain on the roll of the paper and is hanged by the spindle. The spindle is the support that holds paper and a plotter, a large printer. It was my graduation show, but was also shown in Hollywood, the Art Center. I want to embrace the mistakes, and you see here how it burns sometimes because the pictures has this oversaturation of ink as excess and also high exploitation of things.
When you do your entropy of your images, I think are really cool. Do you mask out, like are you working in like Photoshop, or you mask out sections to create more of the cyan and magenta or the yellow or the...
No.
So you just kind of like hit miss on the adjusting the colors, or how do you do it?
Well, that's the key of my process. It's my secret. I developed this process when I was playing with my printer. I want to learn about my tool, what I can do with it. And it's a domestic print, 8.5 by 11 paper.
It's the printing settings.
Yes.
Not inside
Yes.
the program.
Yes. Today they have some apps that does certain things, no? But this is not. This is all handmade, kinda. I share the printer the ability to do those things. So I don't just push the button.
So I want to ask your secret, but that means you have to rerun it through a couple times sometimes.
Yes,
Got it.
yes.
I understand.
Yes, because the last picture you saw two different imageries.
Right.
And I always recycle my prints, even though the ones are already done, I print it again, I use the colors, or I use pictures for anything, but always thinking about those things, color or environment.
I love the concept of it being on the roll, like on the old printers.
Yes.
You have it on the roll. And I was going to ask, what did you use to be, so is it interactive, like where people can actually move it, or is it just strictly display? And how did you join it? Because you're saying you're working on a small printer, but that's
Oh, okay, that's a great question. Well, as I do my work in my small printer, all the originals, the unique pieces, I have to photograph it if I want to see a reproduction of it. I don't have it in a file, but I have to make a file. So I scan them, and I have to clean all the dust, all the things, and then I join them together and make those large compositions. Yes. My plan is to do it at once in a big printer. So one day, a lady was throwing a lot of albums, and they were like 70s. They were this color, they become oxidized by time, and they were pictures from all over the world. All those monuments, a lot of people knows by the shape. And I made this project, Landscapes and a Stage of a Disappearance. I cut out them and I put all them together, all the world together, places. But you can't define what they are. When I'm showing this, I'm talking about one stage of entropy. Robert Smithson say, he was in an interview and somebody asked him about entropy. And he said, entropy, that's a subject that preoccupied me for some time. In a whole, I would say entropy, in other words, is a condition that is irreversible. It is a condition that's moving towards a gradual equilibrium. So a lot of people think, entropy is chaos and order. Chaos is what we have now. Chaos is the normal. It's a life. That's the chaos, is the randomness. And equilibrium is when one body, one temperature, hot temperature, goes to a lower temperature and change its temperature. And at one point, the theory says that the heat death is when every element will have the same temperature. And if they have the same temperature, it's not exchange of energy anymore. Anyway, so it talks about disappearance and sameness, which globalization is about. Everyone has access to everything or not, but that's the way.
So is that a photograph of a collage?
Yes. And I collage and the album sheets, I participate, I did a solo show with this work at a 6th Street Container. That's the other, I did two kind of works with the set of postcards. And this was the other one. So I made a series of them. And then 2015, I started work at a warehouse, a flower warehouse. And I always think, I didn't realize that, but I always have flowers in my work. But this is talking about entropy. And belladonna, Atropa belladonna, is a flower that's poison, but is also used to make medicine. And I manipulate the pictures. In between here, you can see those are petals of roses that we have to clean and throw away, but they have always a different color. So I collect them and photograph them. And the picture behind is in Brazil. I was visiting my mom, and you have to go to farms to buy lettuce, things. No, she never buy to the market. She wants to go to the source. And I enjoy very much. This is my attempt to have an outdoor, it was at outside the box third, and I made this. Mark helped me to put it together. Two Marks helped me, yeah, and Stephen also. Anyway, yes, it's a mix of my flowers and the entropic manipulations outside the box. And then at the Armory, I was still working also for the flower shop, and my residency was in printmaking. I want to make those flowers. I want to talk about small portions, multiple exposure. Many here, those are, I call the Fukushima daisies. They got this transformation after the radiation of the accident. And over here, I put more poison flowers. Here's the pop seeds, the opioids problem we have. The opioids can help you. It's a medicine, but also can kill you. And the rose I include because we make so much transformation on the rose that is to fit our taste, our vanity, this perfecting. You know? So it's always transformed, and this has kind of a different shape. And the background is with this careless. It also talks about consequences or not think about what we are doing, this mess. You cannot clean in some ways. This is installation for the residency from the Armory. And I built a greenhouse. My installation has those 8 prints, all done with poison flowers. And here the Petri dishes with strange flowers on it. And then I also show 2 paintings. Those paintings, I started doing them while I was in school. I don't want to use brush, but it was alone for a while. But here at the Armory, I have the studio, so I came back to it. So this one is the oldest one. And then at the Armory, I made this one. It's very big. And the rest of it is not stretched, so I just roll it like my pictures, and I put in a box. This is the Mandy tree. I am part of a group called Veritas Art Collective. And we did this installation at the Cultural Council. And I want to show it here. It talks about environment as well. We manned the tree here that was cut. Mutants, larger than human. I made this project, and I show again at Opposing Futures with Ellie Shore. It's a vinyl on the back with aposematic colors. Aposematic colors are the colors that animals, sometimes insects, have to advertise you. I am poison, don't touch me. Or they mimic another animal that's poison just as a way to survive. And I use the red, the yellow, and black for this work, telling I am the environment, I'm poison. But here the trees is a sign that nature always strives. We may not. And I want to make a video or project a video like water, but because the film are loose and hang and the wind comes, and it was like, I should have a video here, but the water, you see the water on the bottom. We felt the lights was very good. This is more abstract. It happens when I was photographing those pictures for the printmaking, the series for the Armory, and my card, the card for my camera, got corrupted. And I managed to download it in my, Photoshop didn't accept it, but I could download it in another program, and then I print them again. So I use corrupted files to be printed in a corrupted printer. Yes, and I love it. This is one of them, and here come my white space again, and the colors that I enjoy so much. And here you can see this little shape. This is from one of the pictures of the flowers, the poison flowers. Then I went to Portugal. I went to Portugal in 2015 with Nazaré, and we went for a workshop painting ceramics, because I am all over. I do mosaics, I restore ceramics, and I went to paint. I want to be in Portugal. I never been in Portugal, and came this chance. So I signed, and we went to Portugal. And we visit fabrications, porcelain fabrications. And they have this huge amount of those white pieces. They call alpiotas, but here we can say supports, because they do porcelain for royalties. They do porcelain for pristine places. They cannot be any flaw. They cannot contain any flaw. And those are made to put under the pieces. So when it is burning on a kiln, it doesn't go in a wrong way. It doesn't attach to the table. So everyone are made with the same material from the piece, and they have unique use. After you burn, they got shrinked and they cannot be used again for a green ceramic. So they throw those things away. Exactly. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to draw, I want to do something, you know? And I said to the guy, can I do something with it? How you're going to do? I don't know. I will come here, stay here for a while, no? And it stays in my mind. Now it was 15. And then when it was 2017, I saw this call, Art Intervention during the biennial in Cerveira, Vila Nova de Cerveira, Portugal. And I said, oh, I have to do something. And I applied. It was hard to make my design because I'm not good to project things that I'm going to do. But anyway, I did the flyers, and I collect the images of 6 species that is endangered in the Península Ibérica in Portugal. And I did some screen print that I cut out, and I burned them, and I brought it to Portugal. And first I talked to the man. Oh, I need to collect those pieces. He said, wow, how are you going to do it? You have to, I don't know. You collect them for me. He said, I can collect. Oh, okay, I'll collect it. So I flew to Lisbon. This place is close to Lisbon, Caldas da Rainha. So I rent a car, a small Fiat, and I went to Caldas da Rainha, filled the car, and I drove up to Cerveira, which is on the border of Spain, up there. So over there, I kind of shine. No, I was alone in some ways. I think I could do better with those, but I put it there, and I was very gratified to see a young guy looking in, and he said, oh, it's about extinction. I said, yes. So it worked, no? And I made this. It's in a castle, very beautiful, and I put it on the ground. But yes, all the species that are endangered, no, and I stamp on them, and I left it there. The guy from the school, they could use it to burn again, and I used the iron oxide. I made the paint, like the caves. They use iron oxide to make the designs on the caves, and they are extinct. The animals, everything from that area is extinct. So I use the same color to make those designs as they are in danger.
And you said burning the image on, you talk about...
Oh, when they use it to put in a kiln,
Oh, okay.
Yes, the porcelain.
Okay.
Yes, they made the piece. Let's say it's a pot, and they make also the base with the same porcelain, and they put it together in a kiln.
Okay.
And when you burn ceramic, when you cook it, it shrinks. The water
You call it firing. I
evaporates.
wasn't sure what you meant. Okay.
Okay, so yes, so they use it once because they shrink. They will not serve for the next ones. This exhibition just happened. It's still there for one more week. It's an IS project in Fort Lauderdale, Fat Village. I put the name Byproducts, and it's all about containers that I use as a plate and I print as my version of an assembling line. And they are also very architecture because I think I enjoy very much to see the shapes of boxes when they are open. It looks like a foot plan for a house. Wanna close? I went to VCCA, Virginia, and I saw a lot of kudzu. It's this vegetation who take over big trees and go over again, and destroy it. I have seen this in many places. I took those pictures and I print them, kind of folding them and manipulate them in my printer. This is my exhibition for the Cultural Council. My prize, it was in Hollywood. And those are the two pieces I made. They are very long. One is 30 feet, the other one is 36 feet. I called it morphogenesis. Our necessity to make things perfect, to cut it, to mold it, to change it as we wish, as we want. I also fold those trees and those vegetations. They are folding also. Kudzu is folding things. And as my idea of manipulation.